Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the San Gabriel Valley. He's back. His name is Anthony Portantino. You know him well. He served in the California State Assembly from 2006 to 2012. For some odd reason, he wants to return to Sacramento. He is now a nominee for the California State Senate, District number 25. Congratulations, an outstanding performance in the primary. What you been doing the last 4 years, and why do you want to go back to Sacramento?
Well, first of all, it's great to be back
Always,
here.
always.
And, you know, during my time off, I've been hosting a show on this very set.
That's true. That is true.
I am back, and it's been great. Obviously,
you were teaching, though.
I was teaching. Yeah, I was going to say, I had my 6 years in the Assembly, and then USC invited me to be a visiting fellow at the Institute of Politics, and I created a class called Values-Based Political Leadership. Imagine that, having values dictate how you lead. And so I created a class, and USC let me teach it as part of the Dornsife Public Policy School.
Let's talk about that. We might as well. So values-based political leadership. I wonder, look, we all have our core values, but politics is the art of compromise. And so did you, through your 6 years in the Assembly and as a professor, look at that, at how you balance compromise with core values?
Well, I think that's the art. But if you don't have values, if you don't know what you stand for, if you don't know what you believe in, then you're really not even compromising. You know, a compromise is two people who have strong positions finding common ground. That's different than somebody selling out for political expediency. And so what I tried to teach my class, or actually we learned together, is, you know, what does it mean to be a leader, and why should one be a leader, and then what do you bring to the conversation? So what I would have them research people who weren't politicians, people in the community that they looked up to, and then I'd say, tell me why you look up to that person, what are the values that person embodies, and then what do you truly care about? You
know, I feel as if we've become so cynical as it relates to our political leaders. You know, look, my day job is as an interviewer of elected officials, and I do honor and revere what you all do, but I am in the deep minority. And so I'm wondering, you know, can we, or should we get back to a place where we do have a certain reverence for our political leaders?
Well, I think it's incumbent upon us as political leaders to engender the trust and the support. I mean, we have to do better to do that. Obviously, I think the electorate and your neighbor needs to be optimistic about the future. I mean, we can never have a time where we don't believe tomorrow's going to be better.
I just wonder,
but we have to fill that void and say, all right, here's what we stand for. Here's what we believe in. Here's why. You know, when I'm a proud Democrat.
Right.
And, you know, I oftentimes have, you know, people from the other party come up to me and say, I disagreed with you, but thank you for explaining why. And that's what's missing in the discourse is people, and again, you see it, you know, you see Donald Trump, frankly, just, you know, shooting from the seat of his pants, saying anything to anybody at any given time. And I find it ringing extremely hollow and shallow.
So let's talk about this year running for office in the era of Trump, in the era of the first female nominee of a major party for president. What are you hearing, seeing, smelling?
Well, I think there's a lot of people disappointed in the level of the discourse. We're not, you know, and I'm hopeful going forward. Obviously, I support Hillary Clinton strongly to be our next president. I think Trump is making it up as he goes along and doesn't believe in anything he's talking about. And I'm hopeful, you know, after the conventions get behind, that people see an articulation of one view versus another view of you know, what do we as a society need to do for our children? How do we need to educate our kids?
But
how do we be a more inclusive society? How do we, you know, on core value issues, I think more so than any other year before, I think you're going to see the core value issues rise to the top.
I hear you, and you're not the first to have said that Trump is just flying by the seat of his pants, but it's hard to deny, sir, that he has tapped into something. You know, when you look at what happened in England with the Brexit vote, it feels very similar. It's this inward-looking view.
But I think it's opportunistic, and I'm going to quote Bill Clinton here. Bill Clinton used to say every 4 years in a presidential campaign, somebody comes along and says it's us against them. And he says, but the reality, there is no them, there's only us. And to me, I think you're going to see more and more people reject the divisive politics and go to, wait a minute, how are we collectively, and I think President Obama's speech in Dallas recently was that, you know, our differences are small compared to our similarities. I mean, we're much more connected than we are separate, and I think that's our job as leaders, and frankly, on the Senate race. I mean,
But is that what you're hearing? And I ask you specifically because you are running in a Senate seat, almost 1 million people, San Gabriel Valley, a community that's diverse, but some higher income, some lower income. I could see pockets of Clinton support. I could see pockets of Trump support.
Well, I think at the end of the day, you know, I believe, frankly, that, you know, our campaign is going to win because I think there's more people who feel that our children need to be educated, our environment needs to be preserved, that, you know, women have the right to determine what happens with their own body, and I'm running against somebody who doesn't agree with those things. I mean, you know, I think in my Senate race, it's going to mirror some of the core issues that Trump's trying to capitalize on, and I think I'm running against somebody who represents many of those positions and has for 46 years.
Right. I mean, your opponent is a current Los Angeles County supervisor, been running for office.
Who, when he ran for Senate years ago, did a commercial at the border, you know, running against immigrants. I mean, very similar to the milieu and the ethos that Donald Trump is trying to capitalize on. And frankly, I think I represent more of a common interest of, you know, children, regardless of what community they come from, need an opportunity to get educated, and women need to be,
let's talk about,
you know,
education.
valued. As the father of 2 daughters, you know, I think I'm a good feminist.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody knows my relationship with my daughters.
I want to talk about education because
Absolutely.
this year there's been a lot of agitation about the University of California system and its admission of increasing numbers of out-of-state students. I just want to consider, is it not to the benefit of California students to have their colleagues come from places other than California? I mean, when you look at University of Virginia, University of Michigan, University of Texas, their out-of-state is 30%. We're moaning that we have out-of-state over 10%.
Well, I think the issue isn't should an out-of-state student be admitted to a University of California. It's, is University of California have the capacity to handle California students first? It's what is the first priority and what is the second priority? And again, the California Constitution, when it was drafted for the Master Plan for Higher Education 55 years ago, had a guarantee to California residents that your top 12.5% have a guaranteed spot in a University of California. Over time, we haven't funded the University of California, the Cal State system, the community college system. We haven't funded it adequately to address the needs of Californians. Obviously, if we do that, then you're right. Taking somebody from another state adds to the diversity of the campus, but we can't do it to the detriment of a California student, especially as colleges become more expensive. The hallmark of California's success has been the higher education system that had this built-in guarantee. And let me keep going. One of the problems that the Schwarzenegger administration started, which was, again, problematic that is hurting us today, is they took some of the legislative oversight that was there with the UC and took it away. Schwarzenegger did block grants.
You'll come back and talk about that?
Yeah.
He's Anthony Portantino, California State Senate nominee. I'm Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.